In this series, I will attempt to make a fully functioning RPG game in Minecraft. Now, you might be asking yourself, how in the world can you even fit an RPG into Minecraft? Well, that's just a dumb question with a simple answer, I say. You just throw in some mobs, add some items, throw in a bunch of code, mix it around, and it works like magic. Right? You'd be dead wrong. To start off, what does it even mean to RPG? Well, RPG stands for Rocket Propelled Grenade, which is a shoulder-fired missile weapon that launches rockets equipped with an explosive warhead. Wait, what? I'm not sure if that's even legal. RPG stands for Role-Playing Game, which might seem quite simple enough, but when you dig deeper, you find a greater question. What is a role? What role do you have? Or rather, what role do I have? Certainly not the role of a Minecraft game developer. Not yet. I don't even have a Minecraft server. So I started off by setting one up. The instructions on Minecraft's website made it sound super easy, but I still somehow managed to fuck everything up. You install this file, put it in a folder, run this big line of text, and you're done, right? Apparently not. I realized I downloaded the wrong file that doesn't even support plugins at all. All of that work gone down the drain just like that. So after deleting all the stuff I just did, re-downloading the correct file, and setting up the server again, it was supposed to be all good, right? Just install all the plugins and run the server. Oh, but wait, this plugin doesn't actually exist for the Minecraft version of the server. So after doing all of that again, on the correct version of Minecraft, using the correct file, the server will finally set up. All that was left to do was re-download the correct plugins, add them to the server, set up the settings, adjust the game, enter the tempo, hot step on the pressure plate, blow everything up, figure out why this was happening, run around for half an hour, and lose your mind in the process. And finally, you've got yourself a simple Minecraft server, capable of doing whatever you want, and that's exactly what I'm planning to do. In this series, you will get to experience me losing my mind while trying to navigate what is basically trying to make it through a maze while blindfolded. And trust me, it goes south very quickly. Welcome to episode 1 of Making an RPG in Minecraft. So after setting up the server, I started making the plugin. The first few things I did were setting up simple things like making it so that you can't modify blocks, get hungry, or take damage. Afterwards, I spent a couple hours coding a bunch of boring utilities that will just speed up the coding process a lot. I was kinda stuck and wasn't really sure where to actually start, seeing as there's just so much to do. In the end, I decided to start pretty simple, so I made an item and mob system. The item system was pretty simple and I got it working fast, whereas the mob system... Like, what even is this? That's much better. So with those two out of the way, I think I'll start laying out the map. Now, I'm no green, but I actually have a pretty decent image of what the starter area could look like. So, building montage time? Okay, so I know it's not a lot, but it's more than enough considering I suck at building. So the main idea of the starting area is that you're stuck in this little area right here where you have to do a quest so you can climb out the cliffs. I don't really have many ideas on what the rest of the area will look like, except that I want it to be pretty open. This is fine for now though, as I really don't need a map yet. And who knows, if this goes anywhere I might get a builder who can actually build. So the next thing I did is polish the mobs a bit so that they show their HP in the name. Okay. So that wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, the health is going down, so is it really that bad? I can probably fix that though. And I did. As you can see, the health is not displayed properly when I damage the mob. Although, the mob is burning and will just die when it gets to 0 HP, so I proceeded to remove the sun. As you can see, the mob has no other way to die than for us to kill it. One problem though is that when the mob spawns, it doesn't show the fancy name, and I'd like it to do that, as well it displays 0 HP when dead. So you can see that now the mob displays its health when it spawns, and 0 when it dies. There's these weird damage particles when the mob dies though, and you might think it's because I'm doing 30,000 damage, although that's not true, because the damage of the mob is always set to 0. The particles are there because the mob is set to 20 health by default, and when I kill it, its health is set to 0. This causes Minecraft to think that 20 health worth of damage was dealt, so it displays these particles. This was easily fixable though by just setting the mob HP to a really low number when it spawns, and I'm sure this will have absolutely no consequences. Yeah, so I might have forgotten about fall damage. But now that that's also fixed, you can see that the mob system works perfectly. So with a clean diamond sword, I do 1 damage, because it doesn't have any special stats on it. Now by setting the damage on the sword to 1, it still does 1 damage. This actually makes sense, as we actually had 0 damage on the clean sword, so it just defaulted to 1. But if I set the damage to 5, we do, well, 5 damage. Although ironically, damage is not the only damage stat in the game. There's also power. Power basically multiplies your damage output based on the amount you have. So if I set my power to 50, my 5 damage becomes 10 and 100 becomes 200. I'm not gonna lie, this damage system is kinda boring. I mean, it's a sword, nothing special about that. So instead, there will be classes in the game that you choose when you first play. Although, this requires some systems that aren't in the game yet, so classes will have to wait a bit. But I do have a way we can spice up the attacks. The energy bar. Now in those clips I showed you earlier, you might have spotted a little green stat above my hotbar. That's energy, although it isn't going to look like this when I'm done with it. So how energy works is that you gain it from attacking mobs. Once your energy bar fills up, you can perform a special attack. And in the future, there will be many special attack specifics for each class, but that will also have to wait a bit as classes don't exist yet. But we can still make the energy bar system regardless. While making the energy bar, I noted something though. I can't take damage. Yeah, I completely forgot that the player needs to take damage, so after finishing the energy bar, I decided that that's what I'll be working on next. This is actually pretty easy to make, as mobs don't have all these weird stats and features. So the player has a few different ways to die, mainly by taking fall damage or being attacked by mobs, or in more obscure ways, such as fire or lava. And when the player dies, they lose some of their stuff. Coding this actually took longer than I'd like to admit, so now we can die! Additionally, you can see how much HP you have in your default Minecraft health bar, so that it's just a little easier to see how much health you have. So when we die, our death is now broadcasted to all players nearby, so that everyone can make fun of you for dying in such a dumb way. So that about wraps up the coding for today's episode. I unfortunately wasn't able to make a lot so far, as a lot of essential systems aren't in place yet, but that's what I'll be working on in the next episode. Now, before I end the video off, I just want to tell you guys why I'm making this project, because I think it has a pretty interesting backstory. Well, put simply, because I already kind of did. Back in May of 2022, me and a few other friends decided we should make an RPG-like server. This was nothing new, as we've been making servers for quite a few years now. This project was called Slowbricade. It actually got pretty large, getting to about 85% completion before we scrapped the project. Having spent a lot of time on Slowbricade made me a bit sad seeing that people never see the light of day. So I'm making this project as a sort of legacy to Slowbricade. A bunch of ideas for this project will be taken from Slowbricade, so after a while, I might release a video comparing the two just to see the similarities and differences, and to show you guys what Slowbricade was supposed to be like. My goal for this project is to eventually release it to the public, at least by the end of 2023. So, if you want to help out, I'd appreciate it if you could like the video, subscribe, or join the Discord server down below, where I'll keep you guys posted. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day.